Are you sick of piles of owls constantly blocking your driveway? Well, if that's the case, you gotta get Owl Trowel, baby! Welcome to It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. I am one of your hosts, Patrick.
Yes,
And
I'm another one
joining
of
me...
your hosts, Red.
And I am the other host, Lugia.
Yes, we're
Yes.
just a trio of cowgirls.
Yep.
Yeehaw!
Did you guys catch my reference?
Owl
Uh,
Trowel. I feel like I've heard that before.
It's from
It's-
Gravity Falls.
oh,
It was a
course.
brief cutaway joke. It had nothing to do with the plot. At
I'm
least I
going to
don't
be
think
honest,
did.
it has been years since I last saw Gravity Falls. I don't
Yeah.
remember much about it aside from the finale.
I've seen every episode of it, but I haven't actually seen the show since it's been off the air. It was
This
like one
movie
of
would
those
be
shows
like,
I always made sure I watched the new episode of, but like I didn't actually continue. Like I haven't rewatched it.
guys, Hoot would have been like 10 minutes long if they had Owl Trowel. All their
Yeah.
problems would have been solved. Well, the antagonists' problems would have been solved.
I mean,
But
didn't they
anyway,
use
yeah,
liquid nitrogen to solve their problems?
we'll get there. Before we actually jump into Hoot, let's talk about some things that happened this past week.
Yes,
Starting
so-
with some unfortunate news, and that is Taylor Hawkins, drummer of the Foo Fighters, tragically passed away at the
Yeah.
age of 50. I don't think they disclosed what the cause of death was, but
Yeah. I
Oof.
believe they were on tour and then they had to cancel it because of this
yeah,
this unfortunate incident.
oh, man.
It's a real shame. I'm actually I'm a fan of the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, same here.
This is a real shock because they actually just released a movie recently, the Foo Fighters. So I'm
Yes,
like, oh,
Studio 666.
yeah. So my heart goes out to his family and
Yeah,
the rest of the
again,
band.
he was just 50 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Foo Fighters are like clean, so there's really like no, who knows what happened, but you know what? That's private information. No
Yeah.
need to pry.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins.
while we're on deaths, Stephen Willett, the creator of the GIF, has passed away. Or I guess the
Oh.
GIF, because that's how he likes to pronounce it. So
Honestly, I know this is a whole debate. I've always said GIF.
I've always said GIF too.
I alternate. I don't really care.
I know. Here's how my mind works. Jif is a peanut butter.
Yes.
Jif is a peanut butter. I'll give Jif that. I'll give GIF to the online whatever.
Just make it
I don't know.
distinguishable. I see
Yeah,
what you're
I guess.
going for.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Distinguishable.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to some
Hold on.
less.
Out of curiosity, what was the first GIF?
I
Ever?
don't know. Maybe the dancing baby. Let me
Yeah.
Google it.
And that also begs the question, what was the first JPEG?
Oh, we're
Do I
going
look
deep
like
into
I know
internet.
what
Lore.
a
We're going
JPEG
deep
is?
into internet lore, aren't we?
Do I look like I know what a JPEG
I have enough
is?
knowledge to know that the first YouTube video was me at the zoo. Not me
Yeah.
personally, but that's what it was called.
Yeah, and it was a man making a really funny dick joke about elephants. Did you guys actually ever realize that video was a dick joke?
Yeah.
It's been years since I've watched that video, honestly. I know it's
Okay,
like
so the video was that cool thing about elephants is that they had got really, really big, long trunks instead of, but the implication was cock.
really
Yeah.
that. Well then, okay.
That the
Nice to know
CEO
all-
that's
nice
that was
to
the
know-
CEO of YouTube. Yes.
Nice to know
Creator of
YouTube all
YouTube.
began with.
They
with
worked
a
at
dick joke.
PayPal. Yep. Anyway, the first GIF was a clip art airplane soaring through a pixelated sky. It was in 1987.
Damn,
Oh,
that
wow.
far back.
Yeah.
I thought it would be in
So-
the 90s at the earliest.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, but no, early internet was actually in the late 80s.
You're
but,
going surfing on the internet.
Yeah, it just
Oh,
didn't
that
become
brings
like...
me back.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I've seen
I
that
don't-
full thing. It's fucking funny.
I don't think consumers got really adopted the internet until the mid-90s, though. Let's talk about actual entertainment news now. So a new Witcher game is in development. Something interesting to note of that is you've all heard of the disaster Cyberpunk 2077, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah, who hasn't by this point?
Yeah.
I know they tried
so,
patching it, but
Here's the thing.
it's still broken from what I hear.
when that game was in like development and when it initially came out, they said they were going to use that engine for future projects. I guess they have given up on that idea because the new Witcher game is going to be developed in Unreal 4 in the new Unreal Engine, which is kind of funny. So I guess they gave up on the in-house engine and they're licensing it out. Doctor Who, you guys fans of that?
Nope.
I have never watched a single episode.
All right. Well, this news might still be interesting to you because the upcoming season is so anytime the show switches showrunners, it basically becomes a soft reboot, so new people can hop on. So
How much I do know there's like various different iterations of Doctor Who.
yeah, so
That is literally all I know.
Let me explain you how Doctor Who works. So basically, he's a time traveling space wizard. But every time he dies, he turns into a new actor. He can regenerate. The thing is, though, is that even though you can't always actually start at a new regeneration because sometimes it sort of picks up plot wise from the previous Doctor. So what people do is that anytime there's a new showrunner, they basically treat it as a reboot, and that's generally every like 2 Doctors. So 9 and 10, that's one run. 11 and 12, that's one run, and 13 is one run. They're cutting it short there because 13's was really, really bad. But anyway, this new iteration of Doctor Who is interesting because they're getting the guy who did the initial reboot, 9 and 10. He's coming back to the series. People are really excited because people have argued that he made the only good seasons of the show. Anyway, Hugh Grant is in talks to be the next Doctor Who, which is surprising because Hugh Grant is kind of like an A-list star, you know? We all know who Hugh Grant is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just kind of interesting because usually Doctor Who goes to like a lesser-known guy and, he becomes an A-list because of Doctor Who, but this time we're getting good old Hugh from the get-go. Netflix tweeted and then deleted a statement saying that Sonic Prime is releasing in 2022. Yes, it's time for our weekly Sonic news. What I find really funny about this is that Sonic Prime was announced in the exact same way where Netflix tweeted out and then deleted it. So it's nice that they're kind of keeping this trend alive where every bit of Sonic Prime news gets deleted very shortly after it's announced.
Mistake or coincidence? You be the judge.
Yes.
2022 really is the year of Sonic, but I just have one question.
What?
Where is Sonic Origins?
That's apparently coming out like in April, isn't it?
I don't think we've gotten any news since it was announced.
Yeah. They announced it. They said it's coming out before the Sonic 2 movie. We've heard nothing since.
Yeah, I heard it's like coming out in like 2-3 weeks.
I think it's just gonna be the games emulated and that's it.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully it's as comprehensive as like the DS collection, because I like what the DS collection did is it didn't have because some collections they have Sonic 3 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles separate, but the collection
you got the best of both worlds.
Had them both separate, but they also released Sonic 2 and Knuckles and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Oh yeah, fun fact, if you plug Sonic 2 into the Sonic and Knuckles thing, you can play as Knuckles in Sonic 2.
And if you plug in Sonic 1 instead of Sonic 2, you get a shitload of Blue Sphere stages.
Yes, big blue balls.
And then if you plug Sonic and Knuckles into your Sonic and Knuckles and then put in, I don't know, Virtua Fighter, your Genesis explodes.
Yeah. I like how Mania had and Knuckles mode, so you could have like a mode where Knuckles and Knuckles.
Yeah, and you get Knuckles. A secret screenshot at the end too.
So Miles Teller and Juno Temple, Dan Fogler are starring in a limited series about the making of The Godfather. I guess the limited series with Pam and Tommy was successful, so they're going to make some more. So actually, that's going to be
It's unrelated. My Virtua Fighter joke doesn't work because that came out on the Saturn.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Still Sega.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah, but anyway, they're making a biopic on the making of The Godfather, so that's going to be interesting. Lots of biopics about the making of movies. So I don't know. Maybe when that comes out, we'll talk about The Godfather.
Actually, speaking of The Godfather, when I was on vacation in Whiteface, I actually managed to pick up the entire trilogy.
Oh, cool!
So yeah,
did you check out the recut of 3, or do you have the original version of 3?
Let me check.
You just tell me what's like on the
It's
box.
called The Godfather Coda.
Oh, that's the recut. Yeah, hell yeah.
So is that better?
Yes, apparently. It apparently fixed a couple problems with the original Godfather 3.
All right, cool.
Didn't fix all the problems because one of the major problems was that the
Sofia
acting
Coppola.
was kind of terrible. But yeah, it was. I actually don't hate Godfather 3. I think it's pretty good. Not as good as the first two, obviously. Especially not the first one because I think the first one's a masterpiece. I rewatched that exactly 1 month ago. Actually, that's kind of funny.
Yes, it's only a matter of time before I finally watch these films that have been taunting me since my teenage years.
Yes,
I've seen the first Godfather.
I
but
still think it's funny if I recommend you rewatch Godfather 3 without you two having seen
There's still
the
time.
others. Yeah. Unfortunately, I already have a movie planned for this week's recommendation, so I'm not going to do
Yeah,
that.
and
But yeah,
we're still in school. Godfather's like 3 hours long.
yeah.
I
Godfather
don't
is a beefy movie.
yeah, I don't know what you guys. I do not have that time on my hands yet.
Yeah.
Nor
I mean,
do I.
Godfather 3 is a little bit shorter than the other two, so actually, but yeah,
Maybe over the summer at some point.
yeah. Anyway, so you know that remember that Pauly Shore Pinocchio movie where he sounds like a he has the very
Yes.
oddest yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that
So
out
anyway,
now?
it
I
is
think
out, but
it's been
here's a
memed
funny
to hell and
thing.
back.
I've seen the
Um,
memes where someone shoots him.
it's been
What?
revealed
What?
that there are so it's been revealed that there are two dubs. Some of the voices are the same in both versions, but Pinocchio, the father, and the horse are different in the one starring Pauly Shore. So you can get a version of the Pinocchio movie where Pinocchio sounds like how he did in the infamous trailer, but also one where he sounds like kind of normal if you want.
So was the original a joke? Or
I don't know. I mean, that's
It
the
had to have been
original.
the intention, and then after it got memed to death, they probably figured, oh wait, we should actually change this.
The weird
So
thing,
is-
they released both versions, so you can like
Yeah,
pick and
that's the weird
choose, and
thing.
also like the version that's everyone's memeing on. One, people are probably going to listen to that one, and two, that's the one with the big name, famous celebrity Pauly Shore. The other one's like a complete no name. No one cares about him.
it's Pauly Shore or bust. Come on.
There's a brief controversy with the Oscars. So as we're recording, the Oscars has not aired. It's tomorrow, but
No,
the
it's
controversy.
today. It's today in a few
It's
hours.
today. Yes, sorry.
March
But
27th.
yesterday, they still gave out a couple Oscars awards for the stuff that wasn't going to be televised, and people were upset because the Lifetime Achievement Award was given out, and people were like, that feels like something that should be aired onto the TV. The person who got the award was Elaine May, who is a great writer. I'm a big fan of her. Please check out her movies, The Birdcage and Mikey and Nikki. She also made this movie called Ishtar, which is an infamous bomb, but a lot of people in the industry seem to like it. And people are like, oh, it's kind of like weird that the Lifetime Achievement Award is not being in the main event. She made the Heartbreak Kid.
I was not aware of that controversy. I was aware of the controversy that Rachel Zegler from West Side Story wasn't invited originally.
Yes, that's another controversy.
That was because I'm aware of that one. I wasn't aware of the Lifetime one.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up that one too, but now that you brought it up, yes, Rachel Zegler, who is a star in a movie that's nominated for multiple awards. She's the main character. For some reason, they didn't invite her
to the ceremony, which is
bizarre. Especially since the Oscars this year is very, very desperate to get viewers, and like Rachel Zegler has a pretty big following, so like I don't know. Let's be honest, a lot of people would watch the Oscars just for her, but
from what I heard, it was because of conflicts with shooting the upcoming Snow White movie that she's in.
no,
They
but
didn't
like
invite
they
her?
would still invite her. She would just
I don't know.
not
I
come.
just know it was something about the Snow White movie.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of odd.
I don't know. But they realized their mistake and they did invite her. So
Anyway, let's talk about the movie.
all right, Hoot is based on the book of the same name by Carl Hyacin. A little background about the book, actually. It's a little interesting. Hyacin got his start in the mid-'80s, primarily writing adult novels, including Tourist Season, Double Whammy, and Striptease. And he never really thought about writing a book for children, but he decided to write Hoot specifically for his nieces and nephews, because they were always interested to check out his books, but because of their subject matter, he didn't think they were ready for it yet, not appropriate. So he decided to write them, a book he would know they would enjoy. And he primarily took inspiration from his own childhood, where he actually was a native of Florida. The book takes place in Florida. He was raised in Florida, and specifically, he took inspiration from an event where a habitat of burrowing owls was dug up to make room for a strip mall. And even at a young age, that struck a nerve with him, and that introduced him to environmental awareness. And actually, apparently environmental themes are prevalent in all of his books. I'm not too familiar with his works, but that's cool.
I'm guessing it's like the most prominent in this one.
Actually, in all of his children's books, actually, they deal with their.
Oh, so it's just a central theme.
Yeah, his adult books are like thrillers.
Miyazaki, I guess.
His adult films are like thrillers that touch upon like social problems in society. That's a redundant statement, but yeah, all of his children's books talk about it. Speaking of which, upon its publication in 2002, Hoot became a bestseller, and it prompted him to write more books geared towards children, including Splash, Scat, and Chomp.
I think I've heard of Splash, actually.
I guess the guy really likes his onomatopoeias.
Yep.
Out of curiosity, I'm assuming you guys have not read the book?
Nope.
I have not read the book.
Have you guys heard of the book at all, at least?
No, I have heard nothing about Hoot until you brought it to my attention.
Yeah, this is one of those things, complete blind spot. I think I have heard of Splash, though.
Okay, here's my knowledge. I watched the movie first, and then I bought the book. I only read a few chapters in. I don't know why I stopped. From what I remember, though, it's...
Oh, wait, shit, no, I do actually know this book. I just looked up the cover of it. Yeah, I've seen this book everywhere. This is a pretty popular book. I didn't realize this was an adaptation of this.
Prior to that, I remember seeing the book at, like, book fairs in elementary school.
Yeah, I had no idea
like,
this was based on this.
Now that you mention it, yeah, the cover does look a little familiar to me. I have not read it, though. I've only seen it out in the wild.
Like the blue cover
like
with
an owl.
The face of the owl.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Anyway, moving on. That's the story of how Hoot, got made into a book. How did it get made into a movie? Well, that all came from one person. Jimmy Buffett. Country singer. I'm not kidding. Country singer.
By the way, you mentioned his book, Striptease. Was that also adapted into a movie? Because I feel like I've heard of a movie with like Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
But yeah, Jimmy Buffett, he's the reason this got made into a movie. Because he bought a copy of the book for his daughter, and she instantly fell in love with it. And Buffett decided to give it a read himself, and he said, this would make a good movie. And he was actually a longtime friend of Hyacin, so he contacted him about film rights, and he was like, yeah, sure, we could turn it into a movie. And they got veteran television director Will Schreiner to make his feature-length debut with this movie. Schreiner previously directed episodes of sitcoms, including Frasier, Becker, and Raising Dad. And as of 2022, this is the only movie he's directed. I guess he went back to television after this. I don't know. I couldn't really find much of what he's doing nowadays, but...
Or maybe he just retired.
Possible. Hopefully you're doing well, Mr. Schreiner. So, when Hoot released in 2006, it could have gone better. Reviews were pretty mediocre, and in terms of the box office, oh man, it was a major box office bomb.
Yeah, it made about half its budget.
Yeah, it actually held the record for the worst opening for a film in more than 3,000 theaters.
Damn.
It currently places number 5 on that list, but for a while it was number 1. If you're curious, the films that have since surpassed it, surprisingly, they've all come out in the past 2 years. They are Those Who Wish Me Dead, The Rhythm Section, Cop Shop, and Reminiscence. All of which have done worse than Hoot.
Well, I mean, there's a very good reason for why those bombed.
Yeah, I understand why, but
I find it interesting that Roger Ebert actually reviewed this movie. Like, huh?
yeah.
And somehow found the time to watch this.
We're not quite done with its box office results. There's a few other things to mention. Oh man. In its third weekend, the number of screenings went down significantly. It originally was playing in 3,018 theaters, and then it shrunk down to 818. And not too long after, it was pulled from theaters altogether, ultimately making a worldwide total of 8 million against a budget of 15 million. Ouch. And actually, I found an interview with Hyacinth where he talks about it, and he attributes the film's performance to the fact that it was released the same weekend as Mission Impossible 3, and also the fact that another family film opened the week before, being RV with Robin Williams.
Yeah. Thing is that the only movie that it was up against was Mission Impossible 3. Apparently, they actually pushed back the release date, the studio, because they thought it would fare better against only one movie, and the one movie it being up against is intended for older audiences. So
Yeah, I get it. Like, you got options when it comes out, balance against Mission Impossible 3. Work.
Mission Impossible 3 is honestly kind of violent. I saw that movie. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't bring
No, I
my
said
kids to it.
it's a contrast,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
but did not work. So it was quite a disaster. But after the film, a few other things about the film after it left theaters. Apparently, Logan Lerman won a Young Artist Award for his role in the film, and this is a weird one. In 2009, Hoot was inducted into the Museum of Modern Art in New York City.
The movie, not the book.
The movie.
Huh.
I couldn't find any sources further discussing it, but apparently it happened.
Was
I
it
know
that
that,
influential in terms of its environmental messages?
It's possible. I know the book was.
This movie basically has I don't know. I feel like
Otherwise,
a lot of kids movies have a similar plot where like, oh, the big bad executive is trying to tear down some sort of nature thing. Cause like the Woody Woodpecker movie was like this, the Fairly Odd Parents movies were like this, even Furry Vengeance.
true.
I don't know. Feels like
I
a
mean,
very
it's-
common kids movie plot.
Yeah, well, because kids are the ones who are going to be handed this issue. So you better let them know early on. You can do something about it.
No, it's just funny. It's like always like the exact same kind of environmental plot, though. Like there are other ways to do environmentalist messages, you know.
I mean, I am going to jump ahead here, but this movie reminded me a lot of Furry Vengeance, minus the violent animals and Brendan Fraser.
I'm actually very curious to hear what you have to say.
You can continue.
Okay. Anyway, after that whole thing with its release, Hoot basically we as a society collectively forgot its existence.
Yeah.
Heck, I forgot this movie existed until like a year ago. Actually, the whole reason I remember this movie is because of Holes. After we finished the Holes episode, I'm just thinking, what other movies based on books are there? And I just instantly remembered Hoot, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did watch that movie.
Huh.
I remember almost nothing about it.
Oh, I have a fun fact.
What?
So at the end of the film, Jimmy Buffett, he wears a Gonzo Fist t-shirt, which is in tribute to his other writer friend, Hunter S. Thompson. If you don't know who Hunter S. Thompson is, he's the guy that wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He's a person that Johnny Depp plays in that movie. So like, I just think it's really funny that Hoot is indirectly connected to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's just really funny to me.
So, is Hoot a hoot? Or will watching it make you want to hoot yourself? Let's find out by getting into a plot synopsis. Okay, so here's the plot of Hoot. Percy Jackson gets tired of living in a landlocked state like Montana, so he decides to move to Florida, where it's much easier to get in contact with his dad, Poseidon. Upon his arrival in the Sunshine State, he teams up with Captain Marvel and Jake Ryan from Hannah, Montana, to save a habitat of burrowing owls from the wrath of a pancake house run by S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Phil Coulson. Okay, that's not actually the plot, but
That actually, well, it is the plot. Is
just
just
switch the
we
characters' names around. I'm
You just
sorry.
made it sound like a fan
Yeah,
fiction,
yeah.
except that's
Okay,
actually
so
what happens.
let's address the elephant in the room. This movie has an oddly stacked cast. Now, note some of it being stacked is in retrospect, but some of it
Yeah,
was just stacked at the time too, because Luke Wilson was actually big at the time.
yeah. You got
Um,
Percy
you got
Jackson, Logan Lerman,
yeah,
Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, Jake
uh,
Ryan, Cody Lindley, Emmett Forrest, Luke Wilson, Delmar from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Tim Blake Nelson, the
oh,
janitor
Tim
from
Blake Nelson was
Scrubs, Neil
also in
Flynn.
Holes. Yeah,
I know,
Tim.
playing a similar role.
Yeah, he was also in like a bunch of Coen Brother movies. You already mentioned Oh Brother Where Art Thou. You got Cody Lindley, who was in Cheaper by the Dozen. Neil Flynn, who was, I believe, the janitor in Scrubs, and he is also in a couple other sitcoms. I forgot, maybe the Goldbergs.
I will always know him as the janitor from Scrubs.
Yeah.
Nothing will change that.
Clark Gregg, who you mentioned, is Phil Coulson from the Avengers series. Robert Wagner, who plays number 2 in the Austin Powers trilogy. He's also in a couple classic films, but I decided that instead of mentioning his long history in old Hollywood, I'm just going to mention him from the Austin Powers. And of course,
So,
Jimmy Buffett appears in the movie because why not? You paid for it.
yeah, I mean, okay, he is the reason this movie got made. You want me to give a real plot synopsis, or do you think our audience can decipher what actually
I
happened?
think they can decipher it.
Okay,
You all
so
have
I
brains.
I ask again: is this a hoot, or will you want to hoot yourself after watching it?
You know what? This was not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's not bad. It's not like good, but it's harmless.
I'm gonna
It
say
reminds me of
this.
like
I
Yeah.
want to fucking hoot myself.
Oh, did you not like this one?
Okay, I'm on the same boat as Red. It wasn't awful, but it was nothing special, and it was actually kind of fucking boring.
it
Oh
reminded me of
my-
like a Disney Channel movie.
My
you know?
experience with Furry Vengeance kind of bled into this movie.
What? Really?
Really?
Kind of, yeah.
In
Huh.
what way?
Well,
I thought like this was a huge improvement from Furry Vengeance.
Again, it's not awful. In fact, this is miles better than Furry Vengeance. It's just that what's there, I don't think is anything special.
I don't know. It reminds me of like a Disney Channel movie. Like, oh, okay, like it's cute.
Here are my thoughts.
Not something I'll watch, but like for kids, sure, why not? This is a fine kids movie. You can plop it in front, entertain your children for like 90 minutes.
It won't make them stupid. It'll probably open their eyes to environmental awareness.
Yeah, it's better than almost every other kids environmental movie I've seen. Like it's better than the Timmy Turner movie I mentioned. It's better than Woody Woodpecker. Better than I don't know Yogi Bear.
Here's my thoughts. Okay, I know I've brought up Holes a lot. Like when I first said we're doing Who, I compared it to Holes, and I said I selected this movie because it reminded me of Holes. Holes reminded me of It, and also Tim Blake Nelson's here. This is surprisingly more similar to Holes than I thought, because my gripes with this movie are the similar gripes I have with Holes, being that the editing and pacing are so weird. This movie.
If there is one issue I have with this movie, is absolutely the lighting.
This movie is oddly poorly edited.
Yeah, actually, the cinematography is like really weird. They look like really like. Did they film this in like really
shots were
shitty
fine.
camcorders?
The close-up shots are so weird.
Yeah,
The wide angle
doesn't
stuff,
look
like
right.
when
this
the
is
main
like a pretty
character and the
ugly
other guy
movie.
were like out on the boat, like going fishing, having fun. Those were fine, but the close-up shots, like, dear God, what happened?
Jeez.
I'm wondering what cameras they shot this on, because like these clearly did not seem to be like particularly high quality.
And also, can we talk about the scene transitions, or the lack thereof?
Yeah.
Scenes in this movie last like a minute at most before they just cut away to the next scene. It doesn't flow.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just me. I forget the name of the kid who had like the goggles on the entire time. Did I just zone out, or was that kid not in the movie for like 30 minutes to an hour until they brought him back near the end?
Yeah,
he was
just
in the beginning,
gone.
and then he was just at the end.
Okay, good. That wasn't me. All
For
right.
some reason, I thought that kid was in Sky High, so that kind of distracted me. I don't think he was though.
Yeah, the editing and the pacing of this movie, like Holes, is just a mile a minute. It just keeps moving. But here's the thing. I said that was my biggest critique with Holes, but Holes was able to keep me invested because it had like this mystery aspect to it. Like, it's two stories playing out at once. How do they intersect? Because we don't know anything. We're just brought into the camp, and then it takes us back in time, and we're like, what is this? Who are these people? When do they merge at some point? At first,
Holds is a significantly better movie than this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hoot starts out like, oh, there's a mystery. Who is this strange kid without shoes? Who's the strange barefoot kid?
And then you find out.
But yeah, and then at one point, when he's taking care of the dogs, they still hide his face, like we don't know who he is. But we do. We've known him for like 20 minutes, so like there's no mystery element. So I'm not as engaged with it. I feel like it would have been better if like you didn't know who the barefoot kid was, and throughout the movie it's like, who is this kid? And then at the end you reveal it. Because at least then there would have been intrigue with a mystery. But here there's really none of that.
They do try to do like an A plot, B plot scenario with the main character and the police officer. I guess that's something, having those two intersect, but like you said, yeah, there's like no mystery behind the other kid. I forgot everybody's names. That's how forgettable this movie was for me.
Just call them Percy Jackson and Captain Marvel, because that's who they are. Okay, it's not who they are, but it's how we as a society know them. Let's talk about the bully for a second. Why did getting hit in the nose give him a lisp? You guys notice that?
I think you were meant to think he got hit in the mouth, but they just shot it really badly.
He very clearly got hit in the nose because he's wearing bandages, and they continuously say, "Why did you hit him in the nose?"
Then I don't know.
Maybe they had a shoot previously where it was the other way around.
I don't know, but
and they just didn't go with that because maybe the footage looked bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't really care.
Yeah. I didn't really care about the relationship between Roy and his parents because it barely impacted anything. And
yeah, his parents were not very involved in the movie.
Yeah, and at the end of the movie where they're watching him give like the speech on top of the lot, they're like, "Oh my god, we're so proud of you. You've done nothing in the entire movie. You've just questioned every choice he's made. You're trying to have this emotional moment, but I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it."
Do we have anything else, or are we good to wrap up?
One other thing I will say is, while I wouldn't say this movie is noteworthy in terms of cinematography. I'm a sucker for the tropic aesthetic, so it did look pretty. That's it. That's it. Look, again, I have nothing against this movie at all. It has a good heart to it. It's likable enough, but it's also clunky and not too involving.
This is just a better furry vengeance.
It's a better furry vengeance, but a significantly weaker Holes.
Yeah. Weaker Holes, hell yeah.
Fuck.
I made my whole week.
Anyway, it's a better furry vengeance, but a less impressive Holes.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd give it like a 4 out of 10. You know, not bad, not awful, but like not good.
Yeah, this was also a 4 out of 10 for me. I felt nothing.
The Pokemon movie was better, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, bias aside.
Oh yeah, well, actually we are pretty biased, so.
This movie is very different from Pokemon. It's a different message.
Yeah.
Nature good, evil corporation bad, but unfortunately evil corporation's going to overtake all of society and there's fucking nothing you can do about it.
I will say one other thing is that the idea of them wanting to make a pancake house is at least unique, I guess. Like usually it's like, oh, we should make a strip mall or like a factory or whatever.
Something soulless.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah,
I mean, it could have been a McDonald's and it would have worked just fine.
Yeah, even like it doesn't impact the story, but at least it's unique. Like I've never heard of a story where the whole point is let's make a pancake house.
Yeah, let's make an IHOP.
Yeah, people.
Yeah.
I was just about to say
fine.
IHOP.
Oh, it's fine, but
it's like a Man of Steel.
You know, it's fine, but you know, I came across a video once where a YouTuber I watched, she was explaining like some of like the cliches in movies she's absolutely tired of, and one of them is the whole like stop the man from destroying the forest. And she said it would be interesting if they made a movie where that's the plot, except they're trying to build an orphanage. So it's like, well, what do we do?
Yeah, so there's like an interesting dilemma because both sides are trying to help for like a better cause. It's just that which one is like, actually the right one.
I'd watch that. That sounds like an interesting spin on it, but Alas. So yeah, Hoot, not awful by any means. It's okay. There's nothing like hateable about it, but it's not really that great either. Watch Holes instead.
Yes.
And if you want an owl movie, watch Legend of the Guardians, because that's like the only other owl movie in existence.
Yeah. Or yeah, Zack
Actually-
Snyder's Legend of the Guardians, Owls of Gold.
That's the movie I just brought up.
Yes, but I wanted to emphasize that it was directed by Zack Snyder, which is very funny to me.
Actually, something always stuck to me is that despite, even like as a young kid, I always realized the owls are barely in this movie, mentioned or otherwise.
Yeah.
It's just like 3 kids meandering about with occasional owls.
And dogs and snakes.
I guess so. Why'd you
The one-
say that
the
like
one
Sean
thing-
Connery?
One thing I did remember about this movie before I watched it was just that Luke Wilson loves his car. That's the one thing I remembered before jumping back in.
Hey, I can
So-
respect it.
So yeah, I can honestly see why I completely forgot about this movie.
Well, at least we now have recorded evidence that it did exist, and we did
Indeed.
watch it.
Because I could barely find any reviews of this movie on YouTube. And like any reviews I did find, they barely crack like the 1,000 view mark.
Well, I mean, we're gonna be no different.
I know, but at least we're adding something to it to be like, hey, this movie does exist. Acknowledge.
I guess so.
I don't know. Read the book. Watch Holes.
Okay, so
Okay, I think we're good with Hoot.
yeah,
Cross
Red.
this off the list. Red,
Yes.
you're up.
So, I was thinking, we haven't done an action movie in a while. Last one we did was what? Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and you recommended that too.
This is also going to be our 50th episode, so
Ooh,
milestone.
okay. Well, this is even more fitting because I've actually had this movie on my list for the longest time. Like, this is honestly one of the first movies I ever actually put on my recommendation list. I just never got around to it. So next week we're going to be talking about Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Ah.
You mentioned Godfather 3, now we're doing Die Hard 3. Okay.
Yep. This one's directed by John McTiernan, who directed the original Die Hard. We've all seen the original Die Hard, right?
Yep. I've
All right,
never seen
so-
Die Hard 2 though, but I remember you
Die
told me
Hard
that
2
it's
is
not related.
relevant at
Yeah.
all. Yeah. John McTiernan basically just pretended that 2 didn't exist. I'm guessing that's why it's called With a Vengeance, because he didn't want people to think it was like Die Hard 3. It was like, no, this is the true Die Hard 2.
Not affiliated with 2.
But yeah, it's pretty good. Fun fact: it was originally meant to be a Lethal Weapon script, and then they for some reason made it into Die Hard. 4 recommendations planned. I've decided to pick that one because I don't know.
All right.
So this is
old
probably going to be like
Disney,
the Spider-Man 3 episode all over again.
where it's the 3rd installment.
Yes, but we briefly talk about the first one.
I might just watch the first one just cuz I have Die Hard 2 like right next to me under my computer. So I might just watch that too. Fuck it.
Yeah.
If I have the time.
I might rewatch Die Hard 2 just because I never loved that movie. But I know other people have, so I was like, I might give it another chance.
So yes, next week, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
I feel like I always alternate between action, romance, and then some weird mindfuck or foreign film.
This has been It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. Thanks for joining us, cowgirls.